This is a small container of a very cold water that I've just melted a whole bunch of ice into as well for a little bit extra cold. And this is an ice pack, which I will be using in a moment. So I've been messing around with using the Mammalian dive reflex, not right before an episode of a panic attack. It's a little bit involved to set stuff up like this, but I've been using it more for if I've woken up or I can feel the very early signs of a potential panic attack coming around, and I've got time to do something more involved than perhaps just breath work or meditation. And this is a fun hack for the body that directly influences your mental state. So what I'm going to do here is show you two different methods that I've used. This first one is submerging my face, basically the nose and the entire part of the face, so some nerves are inspired to set my body's stress response down a couple of notches. What this is going to be is a couple of deep breaths. I like to do a full inhale, and then I'll hold it. I'll submerge my face for about 40 seconds, maybe 60 seconds, a little bit longer than a minute. So I'll time that out, and we'll see how that goes. I'll speed through that on this video. The one little caveat I will say is if you don't feel comfortable doing breath holds or you don't like submerging your face in water, then don't do this. This is me kind of messing around and seeing how I can use some physiology to affect my mental state for a better one. So I like just a couple of deep breaths into the low belly. Last one in. Out. All right, here we go. Inhale. Okay. So aside for being refreshing as an alert method, that was good. So that was probably just around 45 seconds or so of holding my breath with cold water over my face. Now, that I've been doing a couple of times over the last few weeks, and I have noticed, just like this one, that when I'm in there, there's a little kind of spike of, oh, I can't breathe. Fortunately enough, breath work practice gets you over that. And then I settle down, and I can hear my heart rate start to drop. That little, like, the feeling of the heart going around in the chest just goes, which is a really, really cool feeling. It kicks up a little bit as I'm getting to the limit of my ability to hold my breath, but for a relaxation tool that immediately takes down my heart rate, pretty darn cool and effective, and I've been really liking that. Now, this is not for everybody. Like I said, if you don't like it, you don't think you're gonna like this, totally get it. The other option, and I've gotten this from a few websites, and emergency medical information for dealing with irregular, very rapid heart rates in children. What's a good way to get them to calm down, since they don't really have the mental capacity to calm themselves, right? And this is just taking a cold pack, bag of ice, crushed ice will work, and laying it pretty much against your nose, and basically your cheek area, for about the same amount of time. So this does the same thing. It's tricking, again, the nerves that signal that your body is going underwater and that there's less oxygen available, and so we've got to lower the metabolism, lower the heart rate, slow the need for burning oxygen. And I mean, it's going to look funny, but it just looks like this. Now, I can certainly do this lying down. That might be the more relaxing way of going about it. I have that set up for video. But this is very cold. This is much colder than even the ice water. It's been in the freezer for a while. So that is a little bit uncomfortable. Kind of soothing in a way. You know, once you get past the initial shock of the cold. But just focusing on good deep breaths. Oh, that's cold. Whew. Oh, I might have to put a thin towel. Oh. But you know, a little bit of water. You know, this is a Tupperware I got at Target, and a cold compress, and a towel to dry off is kind of all you really need to do this. I'll link to a couple of videos about this response, the mammalian dive reflex, and the physiological response that it triggers, and as well as to a couple of things of people doing this with heart rate monitors attached, so you can get a better feel for kind of the science and the data behind this. So, but wanted to show this to you all. Hope it helps in some way. Again, it's something that you can do well in advance of panic, fear, anxiety, or if you start really feeling those early warning signs of, for me, it's kind of like electricity going down my arm, so I start noticing the early parts of that. I've used one of these two methods lately, and it's been helpful to kind of knock my brain off for a moment and just get my body into a more relaxed state. And then my mind can catch up with that relaxed state, and we can go about the day a little bit more easily. So once again, thank you guys for joining me, and we'll see you next time.